Iraq. Baghdad has been caught in a ring of fire as the brute militia approaches unchecked, leaving a very thin buffer zone between the capital citizens and the advancing militia. Villages of ethnic minorities have been targeted and shelled relentlessly for days. You can see those pictures. Their citizens massacred in cold blood. Vital towns which link Baghdad to the Sunni-dominated areas have already been captured by the militia, and the military is now aiming to secure what they call is the Baghdad belt surrounding the capital. 2 car bombs in 2 days have rocked the city's suburbs, killing 19 and injuring at least 42. Over to Suhail Bukhari, who's reporting live from Baghdad, the first Indian journalist to do so after hostilities broke out in the last 15 days. He is in the green zone, moving towards the front lines.
As the battle for Baghdad intensifies, it's clear that ISIS wants to encircle it from various townships across north and south and try to make a final assault. And of course, Al-Qaeda is supporting it for that final push to try and see to it that they get the final and most important area of Iraq, because this is where, if they get control of, they would actually be it for that final push to try and see to it that they get the final and most important area of Iraq, because this is where, if they get control of, they would actually be in a position to say that they are holding control of the seat of political power in Iraq. Because after this, there is absolutely no other township that the Iraqi government can fall back on. But talking of Al-Qaeda, given this resurgence of whatever has been happening with the militia of ISIS as well as the Al-Qaeda, it raises serious questions. It would have a bearing on India as well, on the international economy as well. So all these things put together, serious questions for India also to try and do some, try and search for answers on these questions as well. Legal journalist, for example, Suhail Bukhari, Baghdad, NewsX.
Well, the abduction of 39 Indians in strife-torn Iraq appeared to have taken a turn for the worse now, with technical inputs suggesting that the victims' mobile phones were being used by the Sunni fighters in the ISIS-held Mosul, and they were being held near a hotel around the city university. On the other hand, the External Affairs Ministry is busy exploring ways to evacuate the stranded Indians from Iraq. Suhail has more on this.
As the crisis in Baghdad as well as whole of Iraq deepens, there remains a massive question that stares government of India vis-a-vis the people of Indian origin who are either stranded or have been taken hostage by the ISIS militia. There are efforts that are going on at multiple levels, whether it be opening up of multiple levels of communication and channels of communication, whether it be with the government or with the people who could at some point in time influence the ISIS militia, or for that matter tangibly creating routes for people to be evacuated from here to the safer places. But all this hasn't yielded any tangible results so far. We've only heard about 70 odd Indians being actually evacuated from troubled areas of Iraq.
Well, Suhail Bukhari now joins us live from Baghdad for the latest updates. This is now quite imminent, isn't it? War. And it seems that this militia is entering what many people say is the Baghdad belt, which is akin to the NCR zone here of the national capital. So with them about 50 to 70 kilometers away in certain parts and about 150 kilometers away in the other parts, Suhail Bukhari, there's a state of siege. How well prepared is the Iraqi government?
Well, no doubt that the ISIS militia has had a very easy run when it comes to other important cities, even including Mosul. But Baghdad is not going to be that easy for them, and we've seen that Baghdad is preparing itself for any eventuality and to defend itself against an imminent attack which could be launched from various sides of this city by the people out here. It's not only the government forces who are here in huge numbers ensuring that Baghdad is safe, but also the general public at large. Because remember, it's now turned into a full-fledged sectarian war. Yes. And also the fact that there is an armed militia of religious cleric Muqtada al-Sadr, known as the Mahdi army. So all of them together are huge in numbers, they are very well armed and definitely far better prepared to defend Baghdad in case of any eventuality and an imminent attack by the ISIS militia. And of course it's not going to be that easy for the militia to run over Baghdad as they did elsewhere in the country.
Okay, well, how imminent is the threat? Suhail, my last question to you, and I don't want to keep you because I know that being out there for long invites not only curious onlookers but also the threat of something happening. So I'm not going to allow you to hang around on the streets for too long. I just want to ask you, how imminent really is the threat, Suhail?
Well, if you look at how things have been shaping up in Baghdad, more so in the security scenario perspective, this has become almost a routine in Baghdad that a car would be blown off, there would be a suicide bombing. So therefore, that is nothing new, and these attacks which are happening within the city of Baghdad, or even as close as 20 kilometers as you were referring as of now, this should not be seen as an onslaught of the ISIS which is happening elsewhere, because this has been happening for years altogether and are happening even now. These incidents are happening even now in isolation. But the massive onslaught that the ISIS wants is happening somewhere far beyond. We are talking about a radius of 100-odd kilometers away from Baghdad. Nonetheless, there are sleeper cells that everyone has been talking about from day one, that while the massive contingent of ISIS is working against the Iraqi security agencies and trying to take control of cities and townships elsewhere, the sleeper cells within Baghdad definitely are there doing their bit as well. Although these two cannot be compared directly, but of course the threat has always been there and it will continue to be there. And we do know that ISIS would eventually like to raid Baghdad from wherever it can, because this is going to be the ultimate prize, and this is what they would like to have their control on. But on the other side, as already mentioned, the Baghdad, in terms of its own security forces, the government security forces, or for that matter, the private militia, is very, eminently prepared for it, and very unlikely that the ISIS militia would have their way in Baghdad.
Well, thanks indeed, Suhail, for giving us that comprehensive update. We look forward, of course, for more updates, and we've committed to our viewers hourly updates as this situation escalates into a full-blown crisis. Well, here in the national capital, and we move on, here in the national capital, at least on the face of it, for the students, the crisis seems to have resolved. The impasse at Delhi University has finally ended and paved the way for things to normalize, for the new session to commence. Even as the admissions begin, likely to begin from Monday, if I'm not mistaken, students and teachers continue to demand the Delhi University Vice-Chancellor's resignation for jeopardizing what many people say was a system that was more equitable in the past.
Drums are rolling. Students are cheering. Smiles are back in Delhi University. A year-long battle against FOIA costs has finally been won.
अंदर स्ट्राइक भी की थी और बार-बार प्रोटेस्ट लगातार करते रहे. अब जो स्टूडेंट्स भी जो न्यू स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे थे उनकी भी प्रॉब्लम खत्म हुई, तो इससे हम खुश हैं.
Delhi University relented after a stern message from UGC. The illegal four-year program has been scrapped and admission process will begin under the old three-year course scheme in force in 2012-13.
But what next for this man? Pressure is now building on the Delhi University Vice-Chancellor to pack his bags and leave.
हम खुद चाहते हैं कि वीसी रिजाइन करे. आज तक हमने वीसी की शक्ल तक नहीं देखी. वीसी आज तक हमसे बच्चों से मिलने नहीं आया. ठीक है, फाइनली उन्होंने मतलब क्या देखा कि जब यूजीसी का काफी प्रेशर हुआ, स्टूडेंट्स ने खूब प्रोटेस्ट किया, तो उन्होंने आखिरकार अपनी हार मानी.
The respectable position of the Vice-Chancellor is now facing ignominy of resignation. The new Vice-Chancellor faces charges of shaking up a 100-year-old institution with his ambitious program by bending rules, defying the system, only to follow the Americans.
One should not sacrifice the interest of our students at the altar of prestige.
So where does the chapter go down in history? It'll be the debate between a precedent set damaging university autonomy versus the abuse of that very autonomy. For now, the students at least have clarity as the academics debate of what's right and what's wrong. With Molly Gambhir and Paulomi Saha, Bureau Report, NewsX.
So how much merit is there in the charge that the Delhi University Vice-Chancellor has shaken up the university to the point where he created a degree of chaos, anarchy? And should he go? Should he actually stay and fight on and hope that the process of reforms can continue and he can be part of something bigger, better, perhaps? Or should he just go, given the fact that he seems to have accepted the three-year logic and abandoned the course that he chose to chart out? Let's throw that open. Joining us this evening, Naveen Chopra, Chairman of Chopra Educational Group, Dr. Shankar Kumar, member of the task force team, if I'm not mistaken, of the new undergraduate course that attracted so much controversy, Nupur Sharma, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Rudrashish Chakrabarti, member of the Academic Council of Delhi University, who has been with us earlier too, Kavita Krishnan, secretary of the AIPWA, and Professor Sachidanand Jha, Department of English, Delhi University. Let me begin with you, Dr. Shankar Kumar. Has the time come for the Vice-Chancellor to go?
Oh, certainly not. The line that you are putting across, that there has been an implicit
No, I'm not.
acceptance
I'm not. Please,
of the
let's
logic
be. No, hang on. Let's stick to the facts here.
Yeah.
I'm not making any insinuations. This channel isn't taking a position. We're asking a simple question on behalf of several people out there who have raised this question. So let's put the record straight. Now, sir, you can respond.
No, what I'm saying is that in this decision to roll back 4-year undergraduate program, where is the issue of implicit acceptance of 3-year logic as such? The situation as it unfolded is amply clear to one and everyone. The timing of intervention by the UGC is all known to us.
Okay, one second, sir. I'm being told by the PCR that while we can hear you in the studio, we actually can't hear you outside because there is something wrong with your audio connection. So I'm going to put that question to someone who sees it from your point of view, and I'm coming back to you, sir, as soon as we can resolve this. It's very embarrassing. I'm really sorry. Let me come to you, Dr. Jha, Professor Jha, rather. Why shouldn't he resign? He's stuck by something. A crisis was precipitated. 5 days do you saw protests, no admission. Now there seems to have been a rollback and an acceptance of a 3-year logic.
The beautiful gift which has come from the UGC, apparently at the behest of the MHRD, is something which is probably the beginning of the downfall of autonomy, called word and the concept called autonomy for all public funded institutions in India to begin with. What has happened today, what the DU administration has done today, has done almost entirely keeping in mind the interest of the students. Of course, it has buckled under the pressure of the UGC.
So you're saying it's the downfall of autonomy?
Of course, beginning of the downfall,
because
of the kind of
so
beautiful
then why does the VC
quote
want to stay on and be a part of this?
Because there
and
is
be
no
complicit in this?
No, there is no reason. DU administration and all those people who have argued for the FYUP still believe that it's a radical idea, the kind of idea whose time has come.
Sir. You have rolled back.
Rolled back because of the kind of undue pressure, keeping in mind the interests of the students.
Why doesn't the VC then come out and say this? Why are you saying it? Why not?
Then that question should be addressed to the VC. You have asked me this question.
That's a very strange one, sir, because, you know, I find this a rather strange argument. If there are people committed, I'm coming to you. If there are people committed to a point of view,
right,
you have to fight for that point of view. And if you find that someone has pushed you in a direction that you don't want to be facing, then quit. Quit and protest. I'm not saying quit with your tail between your legs.
Right.
Quit and protest.
Protest will, like on my behalf and all those people who have argued, who have believed and still believe at this moment that this is an idea which is in the interest of the students. They will keep fighting both for FYUP and the autonomy of the Delhi University, but interest of the students, as I told you in the afternoon when you asked me, interest of the students,
true for tomorrow, day after.
interest of the students should not be compromised. That is what we believe today, because they have been waiting with a flicker of hope for many days to get admitted in this.
You acted in favor of the students, but in
Yes.
doing so, you are also lamenting the death of autonomy.
Yes,
the
this is a very
downfall of
sad
autonomy.
and unfortunate
Let's take it
day
around
for
the
all
table.
those
Mr.
people who
Chakrabarti.
believe in the idea of higher education should go in a
Death of
radical.
autonomy.
Yes.
I'll first begin by the statement from the Vice-Chancellor which came out today, and I just want to read out the first line. The University of Delhi recognizes the need of the hour. It is of paramount importance to protect the interests of the students by ensuring the start of the admission process.
Yes.
The same line could have been said 7 days ago when the Academic Council met, when the UGC directive had come in no uncertain terms, and we in the Academic Council tried to persuade him in the most eloquent words possible, without any confrontation.
So you're saying he precipitated a crisis because
that is the first thing.
He was forcing a view which was palpably incorrect.
Rahul,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
and was
exactly.
illegal?
Yeah. First point first. This same thing could have been done 7 days ago, and he could have very gracefully accepted the UGC directive and could have said, look, I am doing this because this directive has come and we are bound by law. It could have been a far more graceful position. This is the first point. Second, for 7 days, for a week, the fact that the admissions had been, and could have said, look, I am doing this because this directive has come and we are bound by law. It could have been a far more graceful position. This is the first point. Second, for 7 days, for a week, the fact that the admissions had been held to ransom. So many parents, students, they have been kept in limbo, in so much anxiety. Yes. And the Vice-Chancellor has been conspicuous from his absence in the public sphere. The fact that not only the Vice-Chancellor, not a single of his officials, he had a huge retinue of officials, who did not feel the necessity to address the students, address the media.
So he lost the moral right to continue in office. Is that what you're saying?
And the third important point about autonomy, which has been raised so eloquently by so many speakers, is that autonomy has been interpreted not only once but many times in this by the courts, that autonomy cannot imply unaccountable autonomy for the Vice-Chancellor and the administration. Autonomy is for the institution which has its own authority.
Let me go across to Dr. Shankar Kumar, who we overlooked in the beginning because of an audio problem. You need to come in, sir.
Yeah, the point that I was making is that there is absolutely no question of owning some kind of a moral responsibility for creating this chaos, because this chaos is on account of situation and reasons extraneous to the university.
No,
and
be direct tonight.
The point
Vice
of time.
Chancellor is not being direct. He hasn't been seen since this crisis erupted in public, so you need to be direct. What are you trying to say? That someone has pushed you into a situation where you needed to protest and press on. That's what you're saying, Doctor, isn't it?
No, what I'm saying is...
Who pushed you?
No, of course.
No, who pushed you?
You have the UGC intervening by taking a U-turn at a point of time when students are around the city seeking admission and in huge number. And at that point of time,
so I'm a student. If your position was so strong, why doesn't the UGC concede and think of the interest? Why was it left to the Vice-Chancellor
I'm a
to
student
defend
of
those
history.
interests?
I'll just use one analogy. Perhaps that will clear the air around it. Beginning of 1920s, during the Indian struggle, Chauri Chaura Kand happened and Gandhiji had to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. It brought a lot of very strange feelings amongst the followers of Gandhi, and the
So
momentum
you
was broken.
sacrificed at the altar of altruism for the larger public good.
Exactly, and that is what his statement says.
But sir, many people are looking upon that askance as saying that you only threw in the towel once it became absolutely impossible for you to continue this fight because you were totally isolated. That's what people say.
I would like to say something here, that the only players here are not the UGC and the Delhi University Vice Chancellor. Okay, there are other players here. When one is talking about autonomy, the VC cannot be autonomous from the students and teachers of the university, who are the biggest stakeholders of the university. Okay. The Delhi University Teachers Association, as well as the first year students who were enrolled under the first FYUP program, more than 90% of them voted in a referendum organized by the ISA to say very unanimously that they found that this was an imposition. The quality of the honours program had gone down because of FYUP. The foundation courses they were being taught were being of a laughable quality, And therefore,
the point is, was autonomy
university vice chancellor. No, autonomy
is this the beginning of the downfall?
Autonomy cannot mean autocracy for the vice chancellor. Autonomy cannot mean the VC's autocracy. He cannot be autonomous. He need not have obeyed the UGC diktat. He could have obeyed the mandate of his own students and teachers.
Okay, one second. Nupur Sharma represents the Bharatiya Janata Party.
We are speaking about the autonomy of the statutory bodies of University of Delhi.
I'm coming to you, Professor Jha. One second.
Sure.
Nupur Sharma hasn't had a word in. Nupur Sharma, you know, there is a mixed bag of emotions. And all through, people have said that it was the MHRD that has played the UGC against the DU Vice Chancellor. Now tonight, some individuals from the Vice Chancellor, or speaking on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, have come out and reiterated that position. Who takes responsibility for the downfall of autonomy as it is being made out to be?
I'm going to stick to the stand that I've actually maintained all these days, especially in the past 1 week, especially since the admissions procedure went in a limbo. Until unless the MHRD issues a statement to the effect, and if it's not amply clear in any letter issued by the UGC to the Vice Chancellor or to the Delhi University, this is not an argument that I think anybody would be willing to buy, because the Minister herself came out in the open and said, this is something that I'm not going to button, this is something that both the UGC and the Delhi University.
Some people say she didn't need to because the job was being done.
All I'm trying to say is that once she did,
by the UGC.
This is something that we discussed
the
before.
UGC was an effective hatchet manager for her.
I doubt it.
And that's what people are saying. Am I wrong to say that? Am I wrong to say that? Are there people who don't agree with this at all? Mr. Nalin Chopra, am I wrong to say that?
I would seriously doubt it.
When you have
allow me to complete. There are 2 points I'm trying to make. Rahul, allow me to complete. There's a second point I'm trying to make. I have heard the proponents of the FIUP here. They make taking this decision in the best interest, in the larger interest of students, sound like a problem. I'm sorry, you work in the University of Delhi. You're there to work in the larger interest of the students.
That's an important point.
Too bad that you did not think about it last year.
That's a very
I don't know what happened this year.
That's what we have done. That's what we have compromised the autonomy of the institution. We have buckled under the pressure, just keeping in mind the interest of the students.
Welfare,
that should not mean that we do not value autonomy. We do not care for FYUP. We still believe in the idea called FYUP.
Should have been considered on day one.
आप वो ढोल बजा रहे देख रहे थे, स्टूडेंट्स कितना सेलिब्रेशन कर रहे थे. 3 साल के बाद जब ये स्टूडेंट ग्रेजुएट करेंगे, 1 मिनट सर प्लीज, आई मीन 3 साल के बाद जब ये ग्रेजुएट करेंगे, उस समय आप देखना कितने ढोल बजेंगे. 90% of the students coming out of a university system are unemployable, sir. Every statistic, every university says that. Sir, just a minute, ma'am. No, you are not.
Yes.
You have to change the system. All of us Indians are status quoists. All we want to do is to sit on the status quo.
1 minute, ladies and gentlemen.
All we want to do is to sit on the status quo. All we want to do is to sit on the status quo and play politics. Look at the content. Improve the content of the 4th year.
If the content was better, why were the first year
Improve the content. Improve the content. Don't debate the idea.
How are you coming here?
Don't kill the idea.
This is a manufactured lie.
Rahul, 1 second.
Vice Chancellor should be standing up and being counted. I mean,
you were mongering about the course being substandard is something that needs to be settled out
here. Let's show some basic courtesies to our viewers who are listening in and who don't deserve cacophony. I'm asking you very simple questions tonight. The question is now no longer about the merits and demerits of this 4-year degree program. It's scrapped. As we talk today, it's gone. Now, we need to affix a certain amount of accountability as to who perpetuated the crisis. Was it the UGC that seems to have pushed the Delhi University Vice Chancellor in one direction, or is it the Delhi University Vice Chancellor who is now inflicting a worse predicament, malady upon the university by acquiescing seemingly in this decision. And I'm asking that question of Professor Jha. Why should he continue in office when he doesn't agree with the policies that he is being made by your estimations and words to swallow?
Firstly, VC does not make policies. The statutory bodies which make policies, the EC and AC and University Code which have made these things, and ordinances passed, number one. And it's the first question which you ask, who is responsible for this mess and anarchy which has been created? Entirely UGC, apparently at the behest of MHRD. The reason I am saying this, there is Mr. Ansari who was there in one of the panels yesterday in JNU. He has kept saying this, that the directive has come from the MHRD to UGC, and according to that directive we are acting and we are sending these diktats to the university. And he also made it very categorical.
Professor Jha, once again you're muddling the issue. I'm asking you a simple question.
Yes, it's the UGC.
If a captain in a team loses the confidence of his players and doesn't share in the vision that is being dictated to him by a board which is all pervasive, why should he stick on? Should he not go? What is this magnet? Maybe you'll be able to eliminate. What is the magnet? What is the glue that binds him to this position?
Please, he has allowed me to speak. Right.
So then why is he backed off?
The platform. The point here is, this is actually a flashpoint. It has become because for the first time now the VC had been forced to eat a humble pie. The fact of the matter is misgovernance.
Forced.
Misgovernance in the university.
Now you said it, sir.
Yeah.
Forced. Forced by whom? By force.
By the law of the land. Forced by the law of the land.
Please understand.
One second, please. Let him speak. Professor Jha, let Mr. Chakravarti. Let Mr. Chakravarti have
first and foremost, I am not an apologist for the UGC. If the heads need to roll in the UGC, heads should roll because accountability has to be fixed. Frankly speaking, when this course was introduced in utter disregard for any sort of opinion or consultation, there, even within the UGC 1 full year ago.
What is the point you're making? Are you saying he should go now?
Yeah, absolutely. He has not only lost the confidence, and there has to be a comprehensive inquiry against the misgovernance of the Vice Chancellor.
Okay, do you agree with that?
I agree also, because I would like to point out here that this talk of statutory bodies, the syllabus making structures of Delhi University were violated. Within 1 month, suddenly the new syllabus, there is plenty of evidence which the DUTA has put on record, which says that within 1 month you created new syllabi.
2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks.
5th of March to 20th of March was the deadline, 2013.
And which had a rubbish quality, laughable quality, which teachers were having to laugh at while teaching, and students were laughing while being taught.
I have those.
Okay, gentlemen, let's get those who speak to the VC, beginning from my right. Explain why you should not quit tonight.
Well,
and I'm asking you, sir, Mr. Chopra first.
I'll tell you what, what I hear around this table and everywhere else in the country is that all that we want is yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, how high shall I jump sir?
No, we want corporate educationists like
anybody who wants to do something productive and break the system to get to a new place, you guys murder him. I mean, he's a man who stood up. He should stand up for himself.
People like you, who call yourselves educationists, are not educationists. You are making education into a shop. You are making education into a shop.
I can only say it has to be productive.
Absolutely.
It can't be ridiculous. It cannot be ridiculous.
Then you look at the program.
Teachers of the university are not being called educationists. A corporate hack is being called an education.
Nothing wrong with the idea.
You still haven't answered the question. Mr. Chopra, give me one reason.
He should stand up.
Why should he stand up?
Because he has vision. Because he has vision. Because
his vision is not being.
He has vision. He knows the problems of the students, and he has designed the program.
Students did not want it. The students said this is not in our interest. We are being taught something of poor quality.
Jobs, then you will want them. You will go there and help them.
Mr. Chopra, then why is he backtracking? Professor Jha, why is he backtracking? Why is your man backtracking?
Please try to understand, it's not backtracking. It's certainly, this decision has been taken in a lot of pragmatism.
It could have been taken in day one.
Keeping in mind the stress of the student.
It could have been taken on day one. What was he trying to prove?
Because because
Was he doing a drama for 5 days? So he was doing a drama at the cost of students for 5 days? What are you saying?
Let me respond to this. That shows basically the kind of convictions we had. We fought, we resisted, even under tremendous political pressure. Tremendous political pressure.
Did he do a drama?
But no, it was not drama. It shows our confidence. It shows our conviction. But finally, when we realized that the political pressure is too much and we cannot sacrifice the interest of the students, we took this decision in the interest.
One second. This is odd. You stood up for the students first, in the name of the students, and you said this 4-year degree course is beneficial. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the VC. So he stands up for this 4-year degree. Then there's political pressure. Then he says, in the interests of the students, I'm scrapping this 4-year program. This is strange. What is going on, Professor? Professor Jha? Okay, Doctor.
Had the degree been legal, there won't have been any public.
There is something wrong.
This kind of political interference will lead us to a point where we'll lament like...
Now, Dr. Kumar, you seem to be someone who's quite reasonable.
Autonomy many times
now,
before.
one second, gentlemen. Dr. Kumar, you seem to be a reasonable individual. You seem to be a reasonable individual, and I'm asking a simple question. Did the Vice-Chancellor need to throw in the towel? If he had such a problem, he could have been a conscientious objector, allowed the courts perhaps to resolve this issue, or work towards a solution which is amenable not only to him, but also the others. Why completely abdicate your position? And once you've done so, you've abdicated your cause. And for that, you must go. Now answer why this is not the case.
Rahul, glad that you asked this question, but you used a wrong phrase, throwing in the towel.
Okay.
It's not so.
Okay.
One, you also said in your question that he could have worked towards some kind of a solution. That solution had come from the eminent citizens and academicians. He did pass it on across to the UGC for ratification. UGC did not respond positively, rather said that no, you have to do this and you have to go back to the 3-year system. Okay. So it's on across to the UGC for ratification. UGC did not respond positively, rather said that no, you have to do this and you have to go back to the 3-year system. Okay. So it's plain and simple. And it's not on account of his wisdom or the collective wisdom of the university. Rather, it is a diktat that he has to obey.
Okay. Nupur Sharma responds and we end this discussion.
All I'm going to say is that all these, everybody lamenting here about political pressure being applied and this and that, this is actually just hearsay. It's a rumor without any factual basis. Having said that, I'm sorry, if you show me any factual evidence, I'll believe
Ms.
you.
Sharma, do you think he should quit? Simple question.
His resignation or not is not the issue. The fact is that today they're thinking about the students' benefit. Yesterday they weren't even ready to. Today they're calling it a diktat. I'm sorry, what happened last year? Because all the accusations, the crisis started.
You've got to take a position, Nupur Sharma. This debate is about taking position. Yes or no?
This program is
run for 1 full year. Doesn't make a difference, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
What makes
it's
a
inconsequential.
What makes
so you'll be able to work with him tomorrow on another issue, and if he does... No, I'm asking you a simple question.
I'm not the MHRD, you know. I mean, you'll be glad to know I'm not the MHRD. Having said that, all I'm trying to say is that next time it's only called an idea if it's debated well, if it's open to all stakeholders, and there is an advice and there is an opinion from all walks of life.
So the lesson from this is very simple. The lesson from this is very simple: involve stakeholders. Given the fact that he hasn't allegedly involved stakeholders, I think, and I'm speaking for the protesters out there this afternoon, he must review his position, perhaps as the chief of Delhi University in the capacity of a vice-chancellor. Perhaps that the message should go out. We're going to leave it at that. I also have to apologize to Dr. Savita Jha, who has only now joined us for this debate on account of being held up in traffic. And it's unfortunate that that is the happenstance. So, Dr. Savita Jha, please do accept our apologies. We are moving on to the other big story, a big controversy after